Welcome to Level Up Your Writing, presented by the Warminster Township Library. In our first video, I went over the goals of this video series. Today we'll really kick it off with our first practical tip that you can begin putting into practice as soon as this video ends. One of the most essential elements of a story is the character. Without interesting characters, you'll have to work much harder to keep your readers invested in your story. With that said, today's tip is about character building. There are lots of aspects to creating an interesting character, and building characters is a topic that will be covered in multiple videos. We're going to go beyond the basics with this and really dig into how to create an engaging character. A lot of people start from the outside in. That is, what the character looks like, where they live, their basic likes and dislikes. And that stuff is important, and it can have a huge impact on personality and motivations. And you can certainly begin building your character that way. But there's also so much more to a character than their favorite ice cream flavor. If you want your characters to feel like real people, they need to be multifaceted and complex. They need to have flaws. And that's a pretty standard requirement you'll find in a lot of writing resources. But to take it one step further, I'm going to suggest that you not just come up with flaws, but make the flaws multifaceted as well. What I mean by that is that flaws and virtues of a character are not always black and white, and can often go hand in hand. Flaws can be strengths in some situations, just as strengths can be flaws in others. For example, let's say you have a character whose flaw is that he's very paranoid and distrustful of strangers. This hinders his ability to connect with people and form meaningful relationships, and it's definitely something he needs to overcome. It's a flaw. But this flaw can be a strength in that he won't be easily led astray by a stranger's words. He won't be easily lied to, because he won't trust what they're saying. In this way, his flaw becomes a strength. And the reverse is true as well. If you have a character whose strength is that they are always willing to help a friend in need, that strength becomes a weakness once they begin neglecting their own needs in order to help other people. So, when you're creating a character and thinking of their strengths and their weaknesses, don't just think about how those attributes developed in them, think about ways you can show those attributes in action. And then find ways in your story to complicate the idea of flaws and strengths. Challenge your characters. This will make them more dynamic as well as realistic, because it will force them to adapt, change, and grow, just like real people. Put your character in situations where their strengths will fail them in order to make them grow. Put them in situations where their flaws will save them, to make them cling harder to things that will only hurt them in the end, giving them another obstacle they'll need to overcome in your story. For this week's writing exercise, we're going to play with the idea of flaws and strengths, and you're going to take either a character that you already have or create a new one, and then write out their flaws and their strengths. And then put that character to the test. Think about a situation in which their flaws and their strengths serve or hinder them in unexpected ways, and then write it. And that brings us to the end of this video, and I hope you'll join me for the next one.